RIP to Nipsey, but it's not a race. Hey babes, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Yvonne, and in today's video we will be talking about what I wish I knew in my 20s. Now I'm 31 in that area, and I've learned a couple things, or I realized a couple things that I wish I would have known sooner. So we're gonna get into that, but before we do, you already know what I'm about to say. Please like, comment, and subscribe. So we got a list right here. Wait, where is it? Okay, we got a list right here, girl. So we're gonna get right into it. So the first thing that I wish I knew in my 20s is, look girl, I'm getting triggered even looking at it, is there are no deadlines, girl. I know we like Nipsey, RIP to Nipsey, but it's not a race. It's not a marathon, it's not a race, okay? Please do not think that you have to finish a certain thing in a certain time frame, okay? One thing that I feel like I had a lot of anxiety about in my 20s, or even before I was 20, was finishing college. Okay, it took me like longer than your average person to finish college. I definitely did not finish in that 4-year time frame, girl. I did junior college, and then I went to one university, I went to another university. Like, it was definitely not your traditional path, and at the time, like, I was very sad about it. Like, I thought I was a failure because I was not doing like what my peers was doing. Like, I wasn't finishing in time. And at one point, girl, I had to take time off from school. I wasn't going to school at all, and I had not gotten my degree yet. So it was like that point where I didn't even know if I was going to be able to go back. And luckily, I did end up getting my degree. Yeah, I did. But it took me a long time, and it was not a straight path, baby. It was bumps, it was curves. We did a couple U-turns. Like, it was no joke, okay? But I did it. And what would have really helped me like throughout that process was realizing, like, baby, as long as you get this done, as long as it happens in the long run, like, you're good. Like, do not compare yourself to anyone else. Don't even think of that 4-year, college experience that, they like to sell us. No, babes. A lot of people do not finish college in the 4 years. So I just want to say that applies to a lot of different things. You may think you should have a big girl job. You may think you should have that big corporate position, and you may not have that. You may think you should own a house, which I think is crazy, but you don't have to, especially if you see your peers doing it, your friends are doing it. Just because you see other people doing it does not mean that you are off, okay? So please, I feel like that is definitely one of the biggest things, because that can cause a lot of anxiety, it can cause a lot of self-doubt, like, it can get real tricky. So I feel like that definitely needed to be number one on the list. So next, I think this is also very important, is this is a time where you should definitely be putting energy to experiencing new things that you haven't before, and things that you wouldn't necessarily experience. So get up out your box, okay? Get up out that stuff that you have been used to doing, especially if you grew up as like a sheltered child. Your parents didn't let you do a lot of stuff, or you just didn't get out the house a lot. You want to use this time in your 20s to do that. Okay, try the new foods, try the new cultures. If you can afford it, if you can do it, travel. And when we talk about travel, I know with social media nowadays, we think when we travel, we have to go out of the country. You don't have to go out the country. Go out of your city. There are so many people who never make it out of their city. It's so sad, especially because you could do it by car, you could do it by train, you could do it by bus. Like, you don't have to get on a plane. Some people are afraid to fly. You can go across the country on Amtrak, babes. Like, let's use our resources, okay? What did that lady tell that person who asked her to help her with her tuition? She said, babe, let's use our resources. Okay, let's do that. Like, you will be surprised at just how much your mind opens up when you experience new things and new people. Like, you see that things are like possible that you did not know were possible. Like when I started watching YouTube, like I didn't know that there were a lot of like black creators. I didn't know that there were black women vlogging and being very successful at it. I had no idea until I got on YouTube and was like, you know, made aware of that. And then like, you know, traveling, like you meet new people who have different type of jobs. Like, girl, use this time to experience all of that, because when you get older, you know, you may start a family, and starting a family comes with a lot more responsibilities, and you may not have the time or the energy to make those experiences as you would have in your 20s. So use the time wisely. All right, next, girl, this is another one that I still work on, okay? But other people's opinions of you are none of your business. None of your business, okay? I have allowed, and girl, sometimes it's not even opinions people voice. Like your perceived opinion that someone else, what you perceive someone else may think of you is none of your business. Like you shouldn't even be thinking about that. You should not think like, oh, if I do this, what they gonna think about me? If I drop out of college, what they gonna think about me? If I start my own business, what they gonna think about me? If I take a jump year, what they gonna think about me? Girl, forget them people. That ain't got nothing to do with you and your journey. Like, do you to the fullest. Do not feel like you have to change yourself to fit in no type of box, okay? Just because you are getting older does not mean that you have to act a certain way. Of course you should be mature and you should make like adult decisions, but I'm saying you do not have to act a way that someone else wants you to act, okay? And you should not be dictating your moves and planning out your path based on someone else's decisions or someone else's opinions, okay? Throw that out the door. Throw that out the door, baby. Do not worry about that at all. And I feel like, me personally, I have spent a lot of time not expressing myself based on other people's opinions, okay? Like, I feel like I'm a very lively person, right? But sometimes I feel like I don't want to be that way, or I have to kind of like downplay myself, or like I can't even find the right words, but just kind of like turn myself down a little bit to be accepted by other people, or in order to not offend other people. And I don't know why I feel that way. I just think it's kind of just like the vibe I get from others. I feel like sometimes people can come off offended or intimidated, and I don't want to do that or seem like I'm doing that. But again, that's none of my business. If someone feels intimidated by me, that's their problem. That is completely their problem. And I don't do anything to make someone feel that way. I could see if I was just a bad person. You know what I mean? But that's not it. And that's what I'm saying. If you know you a good person, you ain't hurting nobody, girl. What RuPaul say? Pay them folks dust. Okay? Pay them dust. Like, do not worry about what people got to say about you. And that can definitely, like, for me, well, I'm gonna say it for me personally, I feel like that has held me back a lot. And I'm still working on that, because I'm trying to, you know, put myself out there and like be my full self, okay? Because I feel like, you know, turning myself down for certain people, I'm not being my full self. And obviously being on camera, on the internet, it's like, girl, how can you be worried about other people's opinions? I'm literally putting myself on a platform to be judged. Next, this one kind of ties into the last point as well, is to focus on you, okay? Like, I know we possibly may want to have a relationship, and you may think this is the time to find like your lifelong partner, and you might have already, okay? But if not, this is not the time, if the time is ever the time, to be worried about a relationship, okay? Like, you are gonna have a lot of time for that. And this is really a time to like get to know yourself. I feel like in our 20s, we are so used to like being given instructions and being given rules to follow, because we just been going to school. And school is literally just a place where you learn how to be instructed. Okay, literally, that's all school is. Can you follow rules? All right, so we're so used to being directed. I feel like sometimes, or a lot of times, we don't really know who we are. Okay, and the 20s are, I feel like, a time to better get in touch with ourselves. And you can do that by having relationships. But what I'm saying is, don't try to focus on one relationship. And I'm not, and with that, it sounds like I'm saying be a hoe. Also not saying that. And I almost slut shame, so I don't mean hoe in a bad term, okay, or in a bad manner at all. And I'm not saying date a lot of people is what I'm trying to say, girl. But relationships also can be, you know, you can learn from them. They can be learning experiences. I'm just saying, don't lose yourself in someone else, okay? And use this time, if you are going to have relationships, friendships as well, learn from every experience, okay? And use every experience as a learning experience. If it don't work out, baby, do your grieving, go on, okay? That was a learning experience. Lastly, and of course, I feel like every point was important or like helpful or whatever, but this one I feel like, you know, is really important because community is everything. But lastly, we have build a circle of people you trust. Now, I know a lot of us, we be like, girl, no new friends, or I don't need no friends, people, we don't trust people or whatever. And I have a very small circle, I would say. I have a very small circle, and my circle does include some family members. So that's okay if you don't have like 10 people you can call for a girls trip. That's okay. And I feel like that's normal. I mean, not that it's not normal for you to have 20 friends. That's okay too. But just build or just have people that, you know, you can call when you ain't feeling so hot, or you can call to talk about the new like topics that are trending on social media, that you can, you know, go on girls trips with or go to the bar with after work. You know, you should have that with somebody. And definitely if you have a relationship, you should have free friendships, relationships out of that, like romantic relationship that you can also turn to. Like, you should not just be isolated into one thing. So I definitely think having a circle is very important. And, you know, don't be surprised if through your 20s your circle changes, because you are getting to know yourself throughout this time. You know, your friends that you may have had in high school or in college, they're getting to know themselves as well, and they may get to know themselves and be like, baby, you not for me. Or you may feel the same way about that, like, girl, you're not for me. Okay, and that's okay. That tends to happen because we're growing up. We are growing up. So just be aware of that. You know, things are changing, but things are growing. This is definitely like a period of growth. So if you have any other tips, definitely leave them down in the comments below. I am now in my 30s, but I feel like I'm definitely more aware of certain things, but I'm absolutely still getting to know myself and getting to know like what I don't like and what I do like. So it's always going to be a learning experience, because, you know, you don't just stay the same all the time. But, you know, these are just some things to be aware of. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for rocking with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.